Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 136 based on novel. So let's start. Virtual universe, in the space that belonged to the huge Axe Dojo. On island number 29,904, the arena duels were about to begin. Attention all, standing in the center of the arena right now is the genius from the Dragonhorn Starfield, Saiwalo. Following the loud announcement throughout the entire arena, the audience immediately erupted in a wave of cheers and roars. The over 100 million spectators from the Dragonhorn Starfield were incomparably excited, all shouting as loud as they could, "Saiwalo, Saiwalo, you are the strongest." Over 100 million excited cheers could be heard. The two sides, from two different starfields, were both given 100 million tickets. Hence today's match had 1 billion spectators, of which 200 million were separately from the Black Dragon Mountain Starfield and the Dragonhorn Starfield. The next to take the stage is the one you've all been waiting for. From the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, an absolute genius, Luo Feng. The commentator's voice was even louder than the first time. Obviously the commentator was a little more biased towards Luo Feng, Luo Feng, Luo Feng, Luo Feng. It wasn't just the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's over 100 million people cheering loudly, more than half the people from the other 800 million from the other starfields in the Ganwu Universe country too were cheering his name. Even though both had made it through the arena wars, obviously Luo Feng, who had dominated his group, had won over the support from many in the Ganwu Universe country. While a trillion eyes were watching him, Luo Feng followed the same pathway and walked into the center of the arena. The cheers got even louder. Countless human ladies of different races all shouted and screeched, some even fainting. The 100% virtual simulation had such an effect, even bodily functions were simulated. There were two youths standing in the arena. One with a dark golden long rod and dressed in dark grey armor, the black-haired youth Luo Feng. The other who was standing on a large board, smiling and with a gentle aura, Saiwalo, Luo Feng, all the best. Saiwalo bowed respectfully, displaying his manners. Luo Feng just stood there, completely immersed in his mental state, like a volcano, without any reaction at all. He didn't know why, even though Saiwalo before him seemed very courteous, it gave him an outrageous sense of discomfort. As for why he had that feeling, he couldn't explain it. "You too." A tall, sturdy and handsome commentator smiled. "This will be very similar to the arena wars. As the battle progresses, the space you have will continue to shrink. It'll only require 5 minutes before the entire space will shrink down to only a diameter of 1 m. Hence your battle will at most last 5 minutes, thanks." Saiwalo smiled and looked at the commentator. Luo Feng only made a noise to reply, "All right, let the battle begin." The commentator smiled. The moment he said begin, his entire being vanished, leaving only the two participants. Saiwalo stood on his huge board, swiftly flying into the distance, as quick as lightning escaping. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. The soaring shuttle immediately became a beam of golden light, obviously faster than Saiwalo before. The original size of the arena was a diameter of 30 kilometers. As time passed, it shrank more and more. With Luo Feng and Saiwalo's speed, in the blink of an eye they were already at the edges of the space. Now's the time. Saiwalo could feel their distance closing. He suddenly turned and simultaneously Luo Feng, who was rushing over, decreased his speed as they grew dangerously close. Saiwalo's eyes had a gleam of madness. "Go! Kill him!" The huge board beneath his feet shot out a silver light. This light wrapped itself around his green energy flow around. It moved autonomously and separated into 9 silver arrows, shooting at Luo Feng at the same time. 9 silver arrows. It was like 9 shooting stars shooting suddenly and swiftly at Luo Feng. Even though the Nanshan armament is powerful, it does have its weaknesses. Saiwalo's eyes were filled with a strong anticipation. "One for victory, that is its defense, its weakness is its defense. Your power is only so much and you dare split it into 9? Luo Feng snorted coldly. "And you really think I have no methods for defend myself?" Luo Feng's thoughts moved. The soaring shuttle below him immediately shot out beams of light, swiftly forming 16 peculiar shields surrounding him. These 16 shields had golden threads weaving through them. The surface of the shields, 8 of which were facing outside while the other 8 were facing inwards, revolving both internally and externally. The speed was swift, as all of them were infused with some origin laws. This move, the sword array. The soaring shuttle's second form, its defensive form, the sword array. There were a total of 3 forms for the soaring shuttle. The first offensive form was the mountain bulwark, the defensive form was the mountain bulwark shield. The second form's offense was the golden swordfish, the defensive form was the sword array. As for the third form, one had to reach the universe level to use it. Hence the current Luo phone could only use the swordfish formation along with the sword array. The 8 shields floated about his surroundings, the other 8 formed an outer layer. Inside and outside, covered with shields which revolved about and moved up and down, with golden light connecting them, an outrageous energy emanated from it. Infused with Luo phone's comprehension of the golden origin laws, its defense was simply perfect. The 9 silver arrows shot over and the 16 shields slightly altered its speed, leaving no openings at all. Dang, 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 clashes could be heard. The power of the 9 silver arrows wasn't strong in the first place, it couldn't even move the 16 shields' defense. Actually, normal spirit weapons weren't like the soaring shuttle, which had many formations and uses. Under normal circumstances, the stronger one's spirit reading power was, the more focused the weapon would be. A pure attacking spirit weapon. A pure defensive one. A pure flying one. Gold represented strength and piercing power of the sun. This Nanshan armament was a purely offensive spirit weapon, extremely tyrannical. Offense. When it is condensed, it's very powerful, when it is separated it gets weaker. And this Sai Weilo knew that if he did not risk it all he couldn't kill Luo Feng. Hence he gambled on Luo Feng not having a form of defense with his spirit weapons. Hence he controlled the 9 silver arrows. By dispersing his spirit energy through these 9 arrows, it made his energy and power divide by 9, making the power and strength drop. He was gambling it all on this one attack chance. Against the 9 silver arrows, Luo Feng using his Nanshan armament could at most block 2 or 3 of them, that way, Sai Weilo would have a chance of victory. A pity Luo Feng had a defensive spirit weapon. It was the soaring shuttle. The soaring shuttle had flying and defensive capabilities along with offensive powers too. Because Luo Feng had trained rigorously and studied it, using the soaring shuttle's defensive form the sword array, was the best option and choice. Maybe there were better defensive spirit weapons, but Luo Feng didn't have the time to study them. It's over. Sai Weilo's expression changed, the golden long rod became a golden rainbow and pierced right through his spirit weapon and straight through his forehead. First battle, Luo Feng was victorious. Second battle, Luo Feng, I know I'm not your match, but I still want to compete with my all. Luo Feng's second opponent admitted it the moment he stepped on the arena, that he wasn't a match for him. Very quickly. Second battle, Luo Feng won easily. Third battle. The third opponent's strength was very strong, comparable to Pushkin. Especially the strength of the huge axe he used was shocking. However, against the 9 silver arrows from before, Luo Feng's Nanshan armament couldn't fight it all. However, against this huge axe, Luo Feng easily controlled the golden rainbow to fight force with force. By using the soaring shuttle he stood at a distance and controlled it from afar. After 6 continuous attacks, that huge axe-wielding tall and sturdy man's arms were ripped and broken with blood spewing from his mouth, without any strength left in his arms to defend. The third battle, Luo Feng won again. 3 battles, 3 victories. Black Dragon Mountain Island 9-Star Bay District, Luo Feng's home entrance. Luo Feng sat face to face with the silver-haired old man Bu Durasuka. You have achieved 3 victories in 3 battles. Right now the entire Black Dragon Mountain Island is filled with discussions about you. The silver-haired old man laughed. Within this virtual universe network, many entertainment programs and newscasts are all keeping an eye on you. Luo Feng laughed. Even while sitting at home, they could hear the people's cheers from the bars outside. These were all from the victories of Luo Feng. Due to these victories, there were large drunken celebrations all over. Lord Bu Durasuka, I'm pretty sure you came here not just to tell me these. Luo Feng smiled as he looked at the silver-haired old man. I bring word from His Majesty. The silver-haired old man looked at Luo Feng. In tomorrow's 4th match, as long as you win, you will receive a slot. His Majesty is hoping that you will prepare well and not get careless. After all, your opponent is very strong, I know. Luo Feng nodded. An image of his opponent appeared in his mind. That messy-haired bare-footed savage youth, defeat him. Luo Feng thought within. Ganwu Universe Country, within a vast star field. A D6 disc-shaped universe ship was stopped on the moon of a mineral planet within one of its resting rooms. A barefooted, messy-haired 3-meter-tall man, carrying 2 short blades sat cross-legged on the alloy surface ground within the room. He looked up. A photo hung on the wall. It was a black scruffy-looking punk with arms around the shoulders of a tall and sturdy man. Father. This savage youth was quietly looking at the photo, muttering, "Even though you aren't my birth father." However, the savage youth gritted his teeth, saying softly, "I, too, man, swear, I will definitely kill that bastard. Definitely." His eyes were filled with a bone-chilling gleam, almost like a hungry, mad lone wolf. "He is an undying. He is the emperor that built an empire. However, I will definitely kill him. Father, just watch, I will rush into the top 1,000 in this genius battle and enter the virtual universe company. Even becoming the strongest within my generation in the virtual universe company." Savage said softly, "And on the day I kill him, it will be the day I will regain the name 2 Man. It's Madman, that madman has come, quickly flee." The black-haired youth in the dark grey armor walked coldly down the alley. A golden swordfish recklessly slaughtered a group of geniuses, their bodies flew about, fresh blood staining the silent alley. The elimination stage footage of Luo Feng slaughtering were continuously played, the absolute genius that has struck fear among countless geniuses, so much so they call him Madman, Luo Feng. He had been hiding his strength all the while and only unleashing his true weapon, the Nanshan armament, in the arena wars and winning every battle. Only one word could describe him: invincible. "Savage, I admit I'm not your match. I don't wish to battle against you. Even if you don't wish to, you still have to." A thick, powerful voice resounded. That barefooted, 3M tall savage immediately closed the distance between them. The blade in his hand seemed light as he swung it. The blow, however, seemed to conceal the weight of heavy mountains behind it, immediately blowing away the opponent's defense and killing him on the spot. The savage Rong Jun's every slaughter scene too was constantly broadcasted to him, relying just on his strength, has caused countless warriors to tremble, the one called Savage, Rong Jun. From the elimination stage to the arena wars, wielding the battle knife, killing all targets, till now there hasn't been anyone capable of resisting him, the two of them. Madman Luo Feng and Savage Rong Jun, in this 4th round of the arena duels, will engage in a much-anticipated fight on island number 00001. 1 Madman, 1 Savage. Who's stronger? Will it be Madman continue his winning streak, or will Savage kill this Madman? Everything will be decided then. The highly anticipated match of the 4th round, the two pinnacle geniuses fight. A broadcast of about 15 minutes long appeared at the top of the Virtual Universe Company's Gunwu station page. Only the Virtual Universe Company would have been able to get such footage from that first round. The moment that broadcast came out, it immediately resulted in countless in the Gunwu universe downloading it and swiftly spreading it throughout the universe country. Eruption. Countless people from the Gunwu universe country rushed and fought to buy tickets for the battle. Even though the 4th round of the arena duels had many matchups, the one that people were truly waiting to watch was this 49th match. This 49th match was a battle between geniuses who had stepped through the gateway of the origin laws. In terms of power, the Madman Luo Feng and the Savage Rong Jun were both well known. Their battle was arranged to be on island number 00001. The ticket prices were extremely expensive too. However, the number of people who were actually trying to buy these tickets was an enormous number as well. Especially since that special broadcast was released, the names Madman and Savage spread immediately throughout the trillion galaxies. This video had made countless people anticipate the battle. The time had finally come, China time year 2066, July 26th. Within the virtual universe where the huge Axe Dojo had opened a space, island number 00001, a battle between absolute pinnacle warriors was about to happen. The participants were Madman Luo Feng and Savage Rong Jun. Madman, Savage, Luo Feng, Rong Jun. The entire dojo's 1 billion seats were filled to the brim. The battle hadn't even begun, but the footage broadcasted on a big screen in the center of the arena had already caused the countless spectators to cheer and roar for the warriors they supported. Especially the Black Dragon Mountain Empire and the Golden Sword Empire, the spectators from these empires were shouting with pride for their own empire. Simultaneously, within the preparation room, Luo Feng was again wearing the dark grey armor and carrying a dark golden long rod. There were only 2 seats in this preparation room. A passionate staffer appeared beside and pointed at a seat as he spoke. "Mr. Luo Feng, please rest here. The battle is about to begin soon." Luo Feng nodded and walked towards the seat and sat down. In his ears, he clearly heard the roars and cheers that resembled a tsunami. A human silhouette appeared. Luo Feng opened his eyes to look. It was a tall and sturdy, still barefooted, messy-haired man. However, just from him standing there, he gave off a formless energy and strength. It was almost as though he was the heavens and land itself, and this natural abundance of power and energy made Luo Feng crease his eyebrows. When I saw him before, it was from a distance in the arena. And from footage, I didn't expect that within his person, the energy and aura is that strong. That strength itself directly affects his character. Living beings had auras. If one's aura became incomparably strong, it would make others detect it easily, and it was strong enough to be called energy. Energy, this was a very broad term. For example, the normal people on Earth with their thin and frail bodies, if they met a tall and sturdy and intimidating bandit, they could feel the pressure the enemy brought, strong willpower, solid determination, strength, etc. All this contribute to the energy. Like Luo Feng. If the current him were to quietly train in the wilderness of Earth, he would naturally emit an oppressing willpower. No matter how powerful the beasts were, they wouldn't dare approach him. Mr. Rong Jun, please rest here, the battle is about to begin. The staff quickly received him. The savage youth sat directly opposite Luo Feng. The two faced each other sitting. The savage youth's tiger-like eyes stared. It almost seemed like two beams of lightning were shooting out, making others not dare to make eye contact. Luo Feng, however, sat there like a dead volcano, silent, cold, emanating killing intent. This made it hard for others to even touch him. You are Luo Feng? Madman Luo Feng? The savage youth's voice was thick and powerful. With his eyes shut and silently seating, Luo Feng suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Savage. If anyone compared Luo Feng's appearance to the golden horned beast, they would realize their eyes and gaze were almost identical, cold yet filled with killing intent. The savage youth felt shock within. This madman, his killing intent is heavy. Something the matter? Luo Feng spoke, yes. Savage nodded, his eyes staring at Luo Feng. The losers circle matches. I'm very interested in the 9,374 matches. This sort of high-density matches will be useful to my training. I will definitely go participate. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. This savage Rong Jun just said he wanted to take part in the losers' circle matches. What did he mean? You are admitting defeat? Luo Feng looked at Savage. No. Savage stared at Luo Feng. I've never had the mindset of admitting defeat. However, I will first defeat you. Then I will commit suicide and go participate in the losers' circle matches. Defeat me, then suicide. Luo Feng squinted his eyes. To obtain a slot in the name list is not difficult for me at all. Savage curled his lips, giving off a powerful battle aura. I require battle, many battles. Constantly training myself, and improving. Hence, Luo Feng, I hope you don't disappoint me. Don't let me defeat you in an instant. Within the preparation room, Luo Feng closed his eyes and said coldly, relax, I will kill you directly and send you to the losers' circle. Ah? I'm looking forward to it. Savage smiled. With his eyes shut and hearing these words, Luo Feng too revealed a smile. Just from a few simple words, Luo Feng and Rong Jun already had a good feeling of their opponents. They were two people who were similar. They had absolute confidence in themselves, never admitting defeat, and indomitable in spirit. Battle. Battle. Luo Feng and Rong Jun both felt each other's powerful fighting spirit and their absolute confidence. Mr. Luo Feng, Mr. Rong Jun, please head to the alley to prepare. The battle is about to begin. The staffer came over and spoke carefully. Luo Feng and Savage stood at the same time. They exchanged glances, feeling each other's fighting spirit from within, following which they both headed directly to the alley. The entire arena was completely full. The people were like the ocean, all races of humans from the trillion galaxies were all cheering loudly, from the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, the madman Luo Feng. From the Golden Sword Empire, the savage Rong Jun. The two of them are walking out now? The commentator was a man, his voice extremely loud, madman, madman, savage, savage. The spectators from the hundreds of millions of galaxies were incomparably excited. Compared to their actual names, their nicknames were actually much more accepted throughout. Within the arena, Luo Feng and Rong Jun faced off. The both of you should already know the arena duel rules. The commentator faced the two of them. This battle will determine who gets the slot on the name list. The winner between you two will get a slot, while the loser will have to fight in the loser's circle, engaging in a long tedious amount of battles. The two of you should understand already. Then right now, let the battle begin. With that shout, the sound reverberated throughout the entire dojo. The commentator immediately vanished and the 1 billion spectators suddenly became silent. Everyone stared at the large arena which contained the only two participants in the center. The moment they heard the word begin, the two who had been suppressing themselves immediately exploded and unleashed their energies and auras simultaneously. The strong usually had to suppress their energies. Just like how Luo Feng could not randomly explode and release his energies in presence of his family. As for someone like a sector lord to suppress his powers, even after suppression, with one look anyone could tell that his gaze gave of an extremely strong willpower, causing normal star-level warriors' souls to not be able to withstand it and crumble. Battle. The first fight was between beliefs and willpower. Using strong auras and energies to pressure and cause fear in the opponent, affecting their state of mind. This was naturally beneficial to one in battle. Whether it was Rong Jun or Luo Feng, they had never met such a powerful opponent before, hence, the two of them simultaneously released their energies, wanting to use it to affect their opponent's mental state and to cause fear and doubt within him. Only with that sort of mental state would the opponent's strength potentially be reduced to only 60 or 70% of their full powers. Hong. Luo Feng's eyes became ice cold. A formless heart-palpitating killing intent spread throughout, infused with Luo Feng's willpower and energy, immediately rushing at the opponent. A power that made people get distracted. Luo Feng was almost like a cold slaughtering absolute beast, standing upright and surveying the enemy. Ha ha ha. Savage let out a carefree laughter. Beneath his messy hair, his godlike eyes were locked on Luo Feng. Luo Feng, let's battle. Battle. An incomparably strong killing intent and energy immediately spread from him, a powerful fighting spirit infused with Savage's willpower incomparably solid. Immovable. The auras clashed, the willpower and energies clashed, feeling each other's strength. Rumble, rumble. Beams of glaring and razor-sharp golden energy flowed out. Beams of heavy mountain-like ground yellow energy flowed, and these energies covered both Luo Feng and Rong Jun, circling them as the centers. Battle, battle. Savage was like a war god from the universe, roaring, and his eyes were gleaming red. Under the opponent's influence, Luo Feng's eyes were completely ice-cold. His entire demeanor was like a beast being suppressed. Clang. Brandishing of blades. Savage was barefooted. Every step he took had the strength and weight of 10 million kilograms. Even the arena with its diameter of 10 kilometers trembled as he took his steps. With just 2 steps, the tall and sturdy Savage had already reached right before Luo Feng, and that blade infused with ground yellow energy sliced straight at him. Stepping on the soaring shuttle, Luo Feng fiercely retreated. His eyes staring hard, gritting his teeth, he squeezed out the words, "Kill." A golden light shot out from the dark golden long rod on his back. The 9 golden blades with complex engravings on them swiftly moved. Threads of gold weaved through the entire body, swiftly forming a golden blade. Compared to the blade from 2 months ago during the elimination round, the current golden blade Luo Feng had formed was much more stable and formidable. Rumble. A golden rainbow shot towards Savage. Break. Savage's expression struggled. He roared softly while brutally slicing straight at the golden rainbow. Under the pressure of his yellow energy flow, along with Luo Feng's eyes gleaming ice-cold, the golden rainbow almost seemingly wanted to dodge this blade. Dang. Even though it seemed like it was about to dodge it, that blade seemed to move a few inches and directly sliced that golden rainbow, causing it to be smashed away. The entire golden blade trembled for a bit, almost as though it was about to fall apart. Savage couldn't help but take a few steps back too. His grip on the blade too seemed to have weakened. Big brother and second brother were right. This punk's attack is extremely heavy. There hasn't been anyone so far who was able to almost break apart my golden blade with just one slice. From far in midair while controlling the golden blade, Luo Feng's expression changed slightly. Gold, as strong and piercing as the sun. Savage stuck out his tongue and licked his thick lips. Following which he violently roared, as though he was extremely excited. Savage, Savage. The 1 billion spectators and the countless people were caught up in the moment, all roaring with all their might. Within the arena, go and die? Luo Feng was still cold and not affected at all. As he coldly snorted, immediately the golden blade floated again and accelerated, becoming a golden rainbow and rushing towards Savage. Savage let out another roar and rushed straight towards it. His pace fluctuated. His silhouette became peculiar. Dodging time and again, it was completely erratic, swiftly closing in on Luo Feng. No matter what, I cannot let him get close. Luo Feng stood on the soaring shuttle and increased the distance between them. The golden rainbow once again rushed straight at Savage. Dang! Dang! Clashing with him time and again, almost like moving the ground and shaking the mountains. However, Savage seemed to be borrowing the energy from the clashes to change his direction and swiftly closing in on Luo Feng. One had to know that at his level, one flash was a few hundred meters to kilometers of distance. And Luo Feng couldn't go too far, since with too much distance it would be extremely taxing to control his spirit weapon, which in turn would allow Savage the chance to draw close and attack. Luo Feng was after all a controller, a long-ranged fighter and not proficient at close combat. Incredible movement. Luo Feng worked hard to dodge time and again, it was extremely dangerous. Luckily, relying on the comprehension of the gold origin laws, using the soaring shuttle had gotten much easier and his speed and flexibility had improved much more than before. This Luo Feng is really quick at fleeing. Savage started to feel nervous. Normally I'm able to immediately close in and kill a controller. However, this Luo Feng's board spirit weapon is extremely nimble and flexible, dodging me every time. The spectators in the arena, all 1 billion of them, were all stunned by this scene. These two, one strong and brutal. Even though he was charging head first, his movements were very peculiar, almost like an invincible war god as he chased down Luo Feng time and again. The other was like an exceptional master, floating and dodging time and again against the opponent, making him unable to attack. At the same time controlling the spirit weapon to attack over and over. It was two completely different styles of fighting. One was a brutal fighter, while the other was a long-ranged attacker. Savage is too strong. If this madman slows down even just a little, just one slice would probably finish him. This madman is really strong. Every time he clashes against that attack, that Savage's body will definitely feel the tremors. In fact, he may even be already injured. If this goes on, Savage will definitely lose. Whether it was the 1 billion spectators in the arena or the countless people in the countless galaxies watching the broadcast all over, it did not matter what they deduced and concluded. Luo Feng and Rong Jian in the arena knew best about the predicament of their opponent. Lightning-fast attacks were exchanged over and over. This carried on for a minute before stopping. Savage stood in the arena and stared at the distant Luo Feng. Luo Feng too had stopped, not continuing his attack. My hand. Savage creased his eyebrows, feeling soreness in his entire right arm. The area between the thumb and the index finger had already ripped apart. Matching force with force time and again. Every attack was extremely terrifying. If it were a normal genius, just one clash would have broken his entire arm. During the previous matches, when Luo Feng used the Golden Blade, with just one attack, he had broken the opponent's entire arm. As one of the 9 godly weapons, using the Nanshan armament while combining origin laws and attacking, just how terrifying was that power? And Savage was well known for his brutality as well. Every slash he threw had cut right through every opponent. Two incredibly strong forces had clashed head-on continuously for about 10 times. I can't go on like this. If this goes on, my right arm will become useless. Savage stared hard at Luo Feng. I have to bear the brunt of every clash. Yet, he's just a spirit reader, the clashes don't even affect his body at all. I'm definitely losing out. In mid-air, dressed in dark grey armor, Luo Feng was shocked. Even after 10 continuous clashes, he's actually completely fine. Using the Nanshan armament and going full force eats up a lot of my spirit energy. These 10 attacks have used up more than half of my spirit energy. If this happened in reality, everything could be provided for with his core. He didn't have to worry about his spirit energy running out at all. However, in a virtual universe world, his body was designed according to the virtual universe's standard. Every person's body and spirit energy was the same. Even though he could recover his spirit energy naturally every second, this speed and level of recovery of a star level 9 paled by far in comparison to the Golden Horned Beast's core. He had met with a difficulty. Savage's right hand was injured, he couldn't carry on meeting force with force either. Luo Feng's had less than half of his spirit energy left, he didn't dare keep dragging this on. What to do? Bated breaths. The entire arena went silent as two of them held their breath and stared at each other from afar. Even the 1 billion spectators were silent as they watched. And the Ganwu Universe country, the trillions of universe humans watching this pinnacle fight broadcast, were all incomparably nervous and waiting in anticipation. Virtual Universe, Ganwu Continent, the largest construct in one of the buildings on a floating island above. Within that construct was a large hall. The entire floor surface of that hall was made of a dark greenish-black peculiar-looking crystal stone. On it were 64 slashes, which gave off a flicker that enticed people's souls. It made the entire hall give off a natural and yet a dream-like peculiar aura. Countless thrones were separated in there, dispersed in an orderly fashion. In front of the big hall was a large screen. On it was the broadcast of Luo Feng and Rong Jin's battle. Virtual Universe Company actually placed both of them on the 00001 island. These two punks, their strengths are really not bad. However, they still can't be considered as the top of our Gunwu universe countries level. This little bit of strength can't make it to the top 10, however the top 100 or so, that's more like it. Blurry and scattered throughout the thrones were a bunch of men and women. Some tall while others tiny, some old and some young. The one thing they had in common was that their auras were all incomparably strong. Some blazing while others ice cold, this group of people with their incredible lifespans held the top positions within the Gunwu universe country, sat together and discussed. Not interesting, I still thought there'd be some surprise, same level as the previous years. Just average. This group of great existences talked very casually. Within the arena, Luo Feng and Savage had been silent for a total of 20 seconds, finally breaking the stalemate. As the arena duels at most lasted 5 minutes, the longer time dragged on, the space would shrink more to the point where Luo Feng, who needed to dodge constantly, would be at a disadvantage. Under the continuous attack from the Nanshan armament, you can still block. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed with madness. I respect you. Hence, Luo Feng raised both his arms and pointed at Savage. A golden light shot out from behind Luo Feng's back from the dark golden long rod, swiftly forming in mid-air. This scene caused everyone in the arena and everyone watching the broadcast, even the group of great undying, to stare with their eyes gleaming. What? Savage's face could barely contain his shock. Second golden blade. Right in front of Luo Feng was a floating golden blade which had formed early on in the match. Yet, right now in mid-air, a second blade was taking shape, form. Luo Feng grit his teeth. His expression was grim, as his consciousness had split, having to use his full strength to control both golden blades. Nanshan armament, also known as the 9-level Hun Tian Yang, had a total of 9 levels to unleash. The first level was Golden Blade, the second level was the Sky-Piercing form. The first level itself was the easiest. Even domain lords who didn't understand the origin laws could use their strong spirit energy to form it. Of course, when one's spirit energy wasn't as strong, they had to rely on sufficient willpower and law origin comprehension to form it. The first form, during the elimination stage, Luo Feng was already barely able to form it in reality. The second form, Sky-Piercing form, was hundreds to thousands of times harder. The Sky-Piercing form required unleashing 9 golden blades and later combining these together, forming a golden true blade. Different from the illusionary form of the first level, as it condenses the energy and forms a 1-inch long golden true blade. This golden true blade's power was extremely immense. At this time, it had the right to be called Sky-Piercing. Hence, Luo Feng had been trying from early on to bring out 2 golden blades. After all, only through unleashing 9 golden blades did they actually gain enough power to condense and become reality, making the Sky-Piercing form. In reality, I'm only a star level 7 spirit reader. My spirit energy strength isn't strong enough, and I'm unable to unleash 2 blades. However, in the virtual universe, my spirit energy is star level 9. Much stronger than in reality. My spirit energy is much stronger than reality. I have a higher guarantee of unleashing it. From the elimination till now, over 2 months had already passed, during which time I've been training rigorously. Even before this arena duel, I already had a guarantee of unleashing 2 blades. Luo Feng looked at Savage, roaring loudly, "Savage! Receive this!" Rumble. Rumble. The 2 golden blades, one on the left and one on the right, became 2 golden rainbows and rushed straight towards Savage. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.